Be sure and tell them Large Mars sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks or TV shows from their childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And bonus ep.
Bonus ep. Haven't done one of these in a while.
Yeah.
Good long while.
I mean, it's not even like, we don't even need to call it a bonus ep. It could just be a regular episode that we talk about a TV show during. You know, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be movies all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I like we
can mix it up.
We can, but I like that bonus eps are like a little bit more segregated to something outside our 80s, 90s movies umbrella. Because we've done some game shows, we've done some TV shows. I forget if we've done any when I went to Jeopardy. Bonus ep. So yeah, these are fun. We had some time and we're together in person, which is so fun. We don't get to do that often. I made the trek over here and we had a delicious brunch, avocado toast, if you will.
They don't need to know everything about our lives.
Yes, they do. It's important. Then they get to know us as people. Anyway, Sweet Tie, what?
I'm not Sweet Tie. Sweet Tie is Jimmy. That's rude.
Jimmy did want a shout out on this one. He watched a couple episodes with me yesterday and wanted a shout out.
I mean,
so,
he gets a shout out every time, literally every episode. It's like, Jimmy, what'd you think of the movie?
He said, I'm in the Sweetie Club. I deserve a shout out now. And I said, if you want to be in the Sweetie Club, you should be on an episode.
It is in the Sweetie Club. It's too late.
No, I mean, like,
we can't hold these precedents now.
Okay. That's true. Anyway, hi, Jimmy. Miss you.
Love you.
Anyway, so what do we watch today, sweetie?
So, sad news. Couple of sad deaths lately. Henri the French Pigeon, a.k.a. Christopher Plummer, died. And also, fucking Dustin Diamond, a.k.a. Screech Powers from Saved by the Bell, also passed away from cancer at the young age of 44, I think they said.
43, 44, yeah.
Sad, guys. And, you know, listen, Screech has had a sordid history in past, you know, colored, lots of, you know, things happening there, a sex tape, I don't know. But he was a really important part of Saved by the Bell. And so it made us pretty sad. But it also made us be like, hey, let's talk about Saved by the Bell.
Totally. I'd say Screech and just Saved by the Bell in general, like real cultural icons of the 90s. When you think of 90s and TV shows, especially ones we grew up as kids, I feel like Saved by the Bell is probably number one. Number one for most kids. I don't know any kid who grew up in the 90s and didn't watch Save the Bell. I just got to be honest. Like, you would have had to have lived under a rock, not having watched this show. Yeah.
Loser.
It was like the Cosby Show of daytime TV. So it was always on like Saturday mornings, I want to say. So like when she graduated from Saturday morning cartoons, it was like Saved by the Bell time.
Whoa. Was it? That's a jump. I feel like that's a jump. Cartoons to Saved by the Bell?
I was watching
not an
cartoons
in-between?
like pretty late.
What about like Doug?
Yeah, sure. Like more adolescent cartoons, but whatever. So it's not, but we didn't start watching this when we were in high school. You know, we were obviously like quite young.
Oh, I mean, I continued watching it through high school.
Oh, yeah.
It was in syndication for forever, still is. And so, watched it pretty much my whole life, I want to say.
So even if you were too young to watch it when it was airing for reels, like you watched it in syndication because they played it all the damn time, to the point we've seen these episodes like hundreds of times.
So many times.
Yeah. So really fun today to kind of go over that. It's not on syndication anymore, but it's on Hulu, all the episodes, so you can watch them there.
It might be. We don't have TV, so. You said it was on a marathon today, so it can.
Yeah, but
it's still
like,
possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's like syndication, like TBS style. But anyway, so we watched 4 of them today, 4 episodes. Each sweetie got to pick 2 memorable episodes they wanted to talk about. And kind of magically we picked like one from each season almost, which was pretty cool, because another cool thing about this show was that these kids were cast when they were like 15, I think. And you really see them grow up through the show. So they start as one does in high school, scrawny little 15-year-olds, and by the end, like Zack and Slater, like men.
Studs.
Yeah.
Stud muffins.
So that was like on display as we watched these from like each of the seasons. So we'll go over the eps, and then we'll talk about some of like the side stuff that went on, the extended seasons, the extended little bits, and do what we do best.
Yeah.
Yuck it up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so time for the sweetie synopsis, but we're not really going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, sweet synopsis, 4 episodes in a row. Yeah.
Oh, that was weird. You did it. Cool.
Well, I just had an idea and I went with
How does it feel?
I went with it.
Where the sweetie synopsis
We switched
shoes.
one time.
Yeah, it was so weird, and like we didn't know.
And you were like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, see, it's not so easy, is it, sweetie?
All right. So the first one,
You're starting.
Huh?
You are starting it. It's like we switched.
Yeah, cool. So the first one, it was my choice, and I chose the Zack tapes from season 1, episode 14.
In season 1, we mean technically there was a season before, which was the Miss Bliss years, which they include in Hulu with the other season. So we're saying season 1, but if you're going to watch these on Hulu, it's season 2. Just FYI. Just FYI.
But it's the first season that the core group is together. So Zack, Jesse, Screech, Slater, Kelly, Lisa. So this is, if y'all remember, the big Valentine's Day dance one. So this episode starts out, Zack really wants to go with Kelly, and in these like beginning early ones, Zack and Slater are always vying for Kelly's like affection. That peters out by the end. Slater really just becomes friends with Kelly, and then he's mostly dating like Jesse or random girls, right? Yep. So this is kind of the early ones when they're like friends, but still like kind of enemies a little bit.
Mostly enemies at this point, yeah.
One. So also going on in school is, and this is how a lot of the episodes start. First of all, there seemed to be always a dance involved. So many
dances.
Yeah, which I think is this show felt to me when you're watching it when you're very young. Again, like, oh, is this what high school's going to be like? It's going to be so fun.
I mean, there were a lot of dances.
Yes, there were a good amount.
Not at like big ones, but like there were a bunch of those little ones.
Yeah, true. So but in this show, like half the conflict is around dances. And then they always pull in like whatever's going on like in school, like what they're learning or whatever, like what's going on in the school side of things too. So in this case, they have a teacher, I don't know what class this is, but she's teaching them about subliminal messaging in marketing. So she uses the example of like movie theaters, like showing a thing of popcorn and it makes you like want to get up and get popcorn during a movie. But then she uses it by playing this music for these kids, and then behind the music was her saying like this, like, I'm your favorite teacher, bring me apples and a box of chocolate and this, and they show up the next day like bringing her all this stuff.
Is that really how subliminal messaging works, though? I thought subliminal messaging was just like a subtle hint that like they'll flash a picture or something, not like entire. It's like Josie and the Pussycats mind control, but like I don't understand it because like you can't hear it when you're listening to the music. Yeah. So how is it? I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Like
it seems like a fringe. It seems like a fringe science, and I don't support it.
I wonder how many people after this episode like tried it out.
I mean,
I don't know.
Maybe we should try it out.
Behind it, but
yeah.
Anyway, so so Zack is in trouble. He can't go to the Valentine's Day dance because, like, I forgot, like, he threw tea bags into the pool to reenact the Boston Tea Party. You know, he's always doing some crazy shit.
Causing shenanigans.
Yeah, so he's not allowed to go to the dance, but he uses the subliminal messaging idea to convince Mr. Belding, like, that he's a good student and his mom doesn't have to, like, come in and deal with, like, his whole detention problem or, like, what's going on. So that's successful. He puts, like, Zack Morris is a great kid. Zack Morris is an all-star student behind a Beach Boy tape, gives it to Mr. Belding because he finds out that that's, like, Mr. Belding's favorite song. And he's like, yay, it worked. What else can we use this for? Because at this point, because he couldn't go to the Valentine's Day dance, Slater is now taking Kelly. So he needs to, like, scam his way into Kelly's heart again, which is how everything happens for Zack Morris, right? It's nothing rational. It's what scam
or like
can I do?
Deserved, yeah.
And to the point, like watching 4 of these in a row, and not all of them were scams, but most of them were. You're like, why does this kid continue to have friends? Like, how much every episode he has to like apologize to somebody on like what's a scam artist or how like he didn't deal with the situation correctly. Anyway, there wouldn't be a show if there wasn't a Zack Morris. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. So he puts the subliminal messaging in subliminal messaging,
like subliminal,
which is like Zack is like the blonde Tom Cruise. Like you want to go to the dance with Zack in Kelly's Beau Revere tape, which was just the hot song of the time. Really appreciate all the original songs that were created during the show. Yeah, I will say.
I want a documentary on that. Yeah. Like, what's that team doing?
Right. Who are those writers? Like, where did they get them? I mean, they're pretty bad, but also pretty good.
Where did you go?
Yeah. I mean, they sound very of the moment. Yeah. Like, you know, that's what the 90s was like.
Yeah.
So Kelly gets the tape, listens to it, and is smitten with Zack again and dumps Slater kind of publicly. So then Jessie borrows the tape, right?
Yep, she borrows the tape. You know, the tape's so popular, it's sold out. And Jessie listens to it, and now she's in love with Zack. And even weirder, Lisa's in love with Screech, which is like something that never happens.
And all the geeks
and all the geeks got dates with hot babes. So you're like, what? So they've been running this scheme. Finally, the girls realize something is up. And Jessie, the smart one, puts 2 and 2 together, remembers like what they learned in this, like, I don't know, social studies class.
Marketing?
Like sociology of like, yeah.
What an advanced school.
This
is a really good school.
And so they're like, Zack put this in the tapes. He made us all blah, blah, blah. So they tell the teacher, and she's like, wow, that's terrible. She's like, I can't believe he would do that. And she's like, let's get him back at his own. Let's give him what he wants. So next day in class, let's see. There's an announcement. Mr. Belding comes on. He's like, hey, we're going to do a new thing where we play a song at the end of like periods to like lighten the mood. Here's our first one, a tape lent to us by Kelly Kapowski. And Zack's like, fuck. And then you hear like the, where did you go? And then like, then Jessie like trots over to Zack. And is like, Zack, I'm in love with you. Let's go to the dance. And he's like, what are you talking about, Jessie? Get up. No. And then all the girls in the class get up and pretend like they're obsessed with Zack. Even the teacher. And they're saying the things back and like that are from the tape. Zack like panics and runs out in the hall, and then before you know it, you know the girls are just like zombies.
Zombie
Zack, and the whole thing is like this chintzy thing about the Valentine's Day dance is that the boys all get a necklace with their name on it, and then the girl has to. It was the girl's choice, but she got to wear the guy's name on her heart.
The guy would ask you, and then you would take the guy's heart and put it.
No, but I think this whole thing was like, because like, wasn't it like if the girls were the ones asking, why couldn't Zack just ask Kelly to the dance himself? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like a thing like that. I thought. No. I don't know, but the girls have to wear the boy's name on their heart. It's stupid. So they're all like, Zack, like zombies holding the heart necklaces out, and they put them on his neck, and it's literally like 25 of them, I want to say. It's like a thick collar of these hearts, and they're all just like boys' names because they're all just like the girls. Like, so like, what does that even mean? Yeah. Like,
they should want his heart. Where was his heart?
Right.
Oh, Kelly has it. That's
right. She had the only valid one, I would say. And then, sweetie, the best part happens.
So my favorite part, probably of the whole series. There's one more line that I'll mention, not from an episode we watched, also my favorite. They both happen to be with Slater. I think Slater has become my favorite character in the whole show. I mentioned this to Sweetie. Sometimes when you watch shows, when you watch them when you were little, you're obsessed with certain things. Then when you watch them when you're later, you're like, oh, actually, like I like this better. Just with age, it grows on you or whatever. I'll give the example of like Friends. Like I watched Friends when it first came out, and I like, you know, oh God, I think like, you know, Rachel's the funniest or Chandler's the funniest or whatever. But then when you watch it, you're like, dang, Joey is freaking funny.
But we hated him. Like when
Joey is great in that show.
No, we didn't like him when we were little. Exactly. We were like, he's annoying.
So this one, I felt that like this watch, I mean, I always thought Zack was so great and so cute and Kelly's so pretty and like, And then this one, you're more like, dang, like Slater is talented. So anyway, he's two of my favorite lines. And so this one is, he comes down, he's like, hey, get off of him. Like trying to break it all up. And he goes, he's going to the dance with me. And then he puts his Slater heart on him. And like Zach like flips out. It is so funny. The expression on Mario Lopez's face just like cracks me up.
Nails it.
So Zach runs into Mr. Belding's office. Save me. Realizes Mr. Belding has listened to the tape too. Mr. Belding's like, oh, has anyone ever told you you look like a blonde Tom Cruise? So he freaks out even more. He created this mess. Then the teacher comes in and they tell him that they actually didn't play the tape that he gave Kelly. It doesn't have any Sibylla messing. They're all just faking. They wanted to teach him a lesson. So good lesson to be learned and a good introduction about how far Zack Morris will go to kind of get what he wants, because he never learns. I mean, it's
never.
Just
I mean, the couple episodes before this, he was like bugging Jesse's bedroom while the girls had a sleepover, and he was like listening in on their conversation. Then, like, he's got no boundaries. He's like the most white privilege I've ever seen in a human being.
I mean, I think people have tossed around like sociopath to talk about Zack Morris, like,
but I still loved him.
Yeah, I still love him too, because there are like good parts of it. He always ends up doing the right thing at the end.
Plus, he's a babe.
He's a mega babe. He is like a good friend when it comes down to it. I mean, if you just look at his relationship with Screech, the entire show, you're like, why are they friends with that guy? But it persists. It continues. Yeah. Anyway, great episode. Another highlight is the Screech dressing in drag as this girl named Barbara Bush to like switch the tapes in the girls' locker room. So he dresses up as like a girl and like can't think of a name. So he's like, my name's Barbara Bush,
which is funny. If you recall, I don't know if you've ever talked about this, but Sweetie and I did a home video. And Sweetie was doing a project for school, and she was like a talk show host. She did two different ones. One where she was a talk show host, and then one where it was I was the talk show host. So, but whatever. So for the one that Sweetie was the talk show host, I had to pretend to be all these people in the audience to ask questions. And I don't know why, like, you don't think of the name beforehand. I think I did. And I think beforehand, I was like, I'm going to say this. So she goes, what's your name, sweetheart? And I said, Chris McDonald or something. It was like somebody's mom. It was like that person's name. And so Emily, like, Sweetie started cracking up. And it was just the first, like, it
wasn't Linda Burt.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, Linda Burt. I said I was our janitor from elementary school, Linda Burt. And Emily just like cracked up.
Well, it was improv, and I was like totally not expecting it. Oh my God, I lost my shit.
I don't know why it had to be improv. Like, I could have thought of a name before.
but you were also like a little girl. I mean, how old were you? Third, second grade or something?
Yeah.
So your circle of people and adults that you knew first and last names were like very small. Like, you knew your teacher, you probably knew
people.
Like, not really. So of course,
celebrities.
Like, our elementary school was so tiny. So of course she like reaches into her like little 7-year-old brain.
Very smart.
And like reaches like Linda Burt, who was our janitor. I'm sorry. Woman janitor. Awesome, by the way.
Love you, Linda. I love you.
Yeah.
Many years later, we were like out with Linda Burt's son, and I like brought it up. I was like, listen, I have to tell you this story.
God, full circle. That was the best thing ever.
Great moment. Yep. Anyways, but that was all to say that, like, sometimes, when push comes to shove, you're under pressure. You just say the first name that, like, you can possibly think of. And so I get it's funny that, and Screech does this another time, Screech, which we'll talk about in the next episode.
Yeah.
But pretty funny.
Yep.
Funny scene.
Good up.
And it's always Jesse being like, who is this? It's only ever Jesse who like questions these strange characters in the locker room. Like, when have you ever, there are a lot of girl nerds, I guess, that look like that. Yeah. So, maybe that one was better, but the next one, okay, let's get to that one. Okay. All right. So next one was mine. I originally picked a different episode, but I pivoted because I thought Sweetie was going to pick this one. She didn't. And I was like, well, we have to do it. So this is Jesse's song, which is a very famous episode.
Season 2, episode 9.
Thank you. So in this one, Jesse's under a terrible amount of pressure. She has a math midterm coming up that she's not doing well in math. She's very smart, but she's not good at math for.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, same girl. So she's stressed. Meanwhile, at the Max, the teen hangout spot, the joint, the burger joint. Is it like a restaurant?
No.
Or is it a part of the school?
Yeah.
Is it the cafeteria? But it's California, so they're so cool that like you don't have to go to the cafeteria for lunch. You can go to the Max.
Let us know if anyone had that experience in high school. Seems so cool to have like a restaurant or a cafe that was basically dominated by your high school. And yeah, you think they ate lunch there, or it was just after school?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Maybe after school.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, who knows how like that
I don't know.
whole thing works in California.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
But I always wanted a Max.
I know.
I was so jealous
so
by that.
bad. So they're all sitting around at the Max, and they're trying to get Jesse to like lighten up and be like, "No, come on! Remember when we were singing in the locker room and like you were having such a great time?" And then they bust out at the Max to the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited, and the way that these girls sing is like it's okay, but they're also just like shouting, like they're shouting, singing. They're like, tonight, we're gonna make it happen.
I think because they're not
Like,
really
wow.
singers.
It's weird.
They can't sing,
So everybody's like snapping their
their best
fingers
they
and
can
they're
do.
like, "Yeah, well, you guys are great. You guys are awesome." So Zach is like, "Hey, I know a guy who's a record producer." Of course, Zach knows fucking everybody.
He
who's
found
everybody.
New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, he's looking for a girl version of New Kids on the Block. Look, you need to make a tape, and they're like, "Oh no, that's not my voice on tape. Oh, this is too scary." Okay. And then Zach's like, "Well, I'm gonna get this because I want it, and no one else's opinion matters, and I'm right and you're wrong, so I'm gonna make this happen." Tonight's the night he's gonna make it happen. So once again, send Screech in drag to the locker room. This time dressed as like an old, like fat woman mopping the floor, which like okay. I mean, schools have janitors. We just talked about Linda Burt. Very great janitor. Awesome woman janitor. Love her. This is like, seems a little out of character for Bayside High. So the girls are in the locker room, and it's a pretty small locker room. And there's this lady with a mop, a dry mop in the locker room. It's not even wet, I noticed. And they're not even like questioning it. And then they're just going on about their lives and like talking. It's like at the gym, like with the cleaning people around. We're like, it's like, oh my God, there's a person there. So they start again. Jesse's like, I'm so stressed out about this math test, and like, girl, you gotta forget it. Like, let's sing. Or no. Screech is like, hey, like, and he has an Irish accent. I can't do that, but it's silly. And it's like, oh, when I was a girl, like lass, I used to sing songs. It made me feel good. And then again, Jesse's like, who are you? Thank you, Jesse, for yes, we don't know this person. And he goes, I'm Sinead O'Connor. It's again like thinking of something Irish, and then like the only Irish person you know, so you say Sinead O'Connor. Pretty funny. So they're kind of like, famous. You're like, yeah, that's my niece. Taught her everything she knows. She knows how to clean a toilet like the best of them or something. So then they sing again, and the microphone is hidden like in the broom, and so Screech is like pointing it around at all of them. So they get the tape. You know, they have to tell the girls that, listen, we made a tape. I gave it to a guy. He loves it. They're like, what? How could you do that? And they're like, oh, he loved it? Great.
I also love how all Zach scams, like, he doesn't have any actual talent. He's always like milking off the talent of literally like everyone else.
He was the lead singer and guitarist of Zack Attack.
Right.
So I don't know how you would say that.
Other than that, but it's always like, oh, these girls are so pretty, they can be models. Like, oh, you guys have a good voice. Oh, Screech spaghetti sauce. Like, like Screech's technical stuff.
You know,
it's
CEO material. What do you want to do? So, so now these record producers love them, but bad news, there's like 3 other groups that they're interested in too. So the girls decide they're going to make a music video, or Zach decides they're going to make a music video, whatever. Meanwhile, Jesse's still, fucking stressed out about this test. She started drinking coffee. She doesn't even like it because she's staying up all night and trying to study. She soon moves to over-the-counter caffeine pills called Stay Awake or something. And one night Slater's helping her study, and she's like, oh, are you tired? Take one of these. And he's like, caffeine pills? Jesse, these are really bad for you. Like, it's a lot more caffeine than coffee, and it says here they could be habit forming. She's like, it's fine, Slater. I took like one. It's fine. Get over it. And then he's like, promise me you won't take them. She's like, oh, you're right. I won't do them. So he leaves, and what does Jesse do? Takes another fucking pill. She's a pill popper. So now she's getting all like a little wackadoo. Assuming she like hasn't slept in 3 days, so she's like crazed but still on this hot caffeine high. So she takes the midterm, fucking like blasts through it in like 12 seconds, and is now a genius at math because she's been studying literally every minute of the day. But they still have to go to rehearsals for Hot Sunday. They make the video. It's a huge success. We'll talk about that in a minute. The record producers love it. They want to see them perform. So, fast forward to the night of the performance. I'm jumping around, but it's fine. Fast forward.
Have you taken caffeine pills? Because it sounds like it.
Fast forward, night of the performance. Zach goes to pick up Jessie. She's like passed out on the bed, and he wakes her up, and she's like, "What? Where am I? What's going on?" And he's like, "Jessie, we gotta go." He's like, "Where are you going?" We gotta go to the performance. You gotta sing tonight. Sing tonight? What am I gonna wear? And she like runs to her closet, and he's like, "Listen, the costumes are just, Lisa's bringing the costumes. Don't worry about it." She's freaking out. She's gotta wash her hair. Zach's like, "What is going on here?"
Never any time.
Yeah, and he's like, "There's never any time. I just need one of these." And she goes to her drawer and opens the caffeine pills. And earlier Slater had told Zach that like, "Listen, Jessie had these pills. I'm worried about it. I found them in her bag again. She was crazy and mean to me." So Zach didn't believe him at the time. Now he's like, "Fuck, Slater was right." So then we get our famous scene of he's like, "Jessie, you can't sing tonight. You're not well." And she's like, "I can. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared." Oh man, classic. So this is like a meme for days. People
Years.
bring it up.
Decades.
Yeah, it's just like never ending. It's, classic, famous scene. It's pretty hysterical, especially because Sweetie and I just watched Showgirls, which was all about Elizabeth Berkley's overacting. And as Sweetie said, like you really like see the nuggets of that starting to form in this scene. Because I feel like in general, she was really good.
Yeah.
In general on this show.
Yeah.
But this episode was just like so dramatic. So anytime Jessie had to be like over the top sad or like over the top mad about something, she would go to this weird like too far place. Yes. So in hindsight now you're like, oh, we really shouldn't have gave Jessie that part of a movie where the character is mad and sad the whole time. Because it was just the worst. So, but this is, it's where it comes from. God bless her. But yeah, so they send Screech to fill in for Jessie at the performance. I was telling Sweetie, I was like, listen, they could have pulled any girl, just a girl, and been like, hey, stand here and just like sway back and forth. Would have been better than Screech jumping around and pretending to lip sync Jessie's part. Like, just forget it. Just
or better yet, postpone it.
Postpone it.
Okay. Oh, sorry, someone has a stomach bug. Like, can we do this
So,
tomorrow?
as luck has it, I don't think the record producers go for this. So they blew it. But you know what? They're in high school. Girls, take it down. Slow it down. You don't need to be a girl group.
Also, that's a terrible name for a band. I don't know.
Hot Sunday. Zach names it Hot Sunday.
It was very disappointing when he's like, Hot Sunday. The girls are like, best name ever. I'm so confused. I mean, the other names were terrible too that he like threw out as other bands. But like, that's a terrible name. You don't name it like food is a tough sell. I feel like for a band name of hot girls, I don't know. Stay away from ice cream. It just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah,
just makes you hungry.
Nope.
So I remember this episode. Probably not when it ran, but close to. But so I would have been like 89. I would have been 6. So let's say I probably saw this when I was like 7 or 8. Now. Saved by the Bell tried to hit some more emotional or like serious things in some episodes. So most of them were pretty funny, right? And were not as heavy, let's say. But a couple episodes a season, you did have some more heavy stuff. They're trying to throw in a little bit more like lessons. We've talked about a lot of 90s sitcoms always having these like lessons to teach kids because there's this importance of having this. So here you have like a try at like drugs, right? They do one about real drugs later on.
And alcohol. They touched it, all the hot topics.
Why they went the direction of caffeine pills, I'm not sure. Was that like a big thing in high school? It might have been. I don't remember it in high school.
Well, is that this? What's speed? Is that caffeine?
Yeah.
Like in Empire Records, and she's like, I would remember she was like, Corey was also taking the caffeine pills.
Amphetamines? I mean, I think that's...
Is that the same thing?
Is. Yeah. But
that's not
speed. Like speed is like an actual drug. like that was caffeine in pill form. Is
what was she taking at Empire Records?
Yeah, speed, which is amphetamines. Yeah, uppers. You know,
okay,
like hyper, keeps you awake, whatever. Anyways, so they went this route with the caffeine pills, which I think is what makes it first kind of laughable and why people didn't take it like super seriously, especially as you got older and you're like, okay, this is kind of funny. But when I watched it when I was little, it was one of the first episodes I saw that was more serious. And to see Jessie freaking out, crying, I mean, they don't cry very much on this show, and Zack comforting her, I was very touched by this episode. And it really did, as a little kid, be like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is serious stuff here. I'm glad I'm watching this.
Maybe that's why I never drank coffee, you know? Maybe I was like, whoa, don't want to get a gateway drunk here, you know?
However, I will say I did not learn from it because I actually took no-dos in college.
Oh, my God.
Similar to Jessie, I needed it. I like took, you know, as you would in college, like way too long to write some big paper because you didn't want to or distracted or you're partying too much or whatever. So I was like, and then I kind of had this thing where I actually figured out I wrote papers better, like sort of like last minute versus doing it way too far ahead. So that was kind of my thing too. So I only had like a day to write this big paper and I was like, okay, I need no-dos. So like that was pretty like ubiquitous in college. People had them. So I took some buddies and it was a fucking nightmare, guys. Don't take those. Like I really was up for like a day and a half. I mean, you just like, you can't sleep. Like, yeah, it'll keep you up at night. But then when you want to sleep, you're done with the paper. You're like, okay, you're not just going to pass out and fall asleep. Like you're still up.
Sorry, yeah.
So it fucks with your whole sleep schedule. Like it was a mess. And I didn't drink coffee even. That was probably why. I was like, Jessie. I didn't drink coffee then.
That's how it happens.
Yeah,
exactly
I gotta
like
stay
it
up.
happened.
Wait, I don't know if Red Bull existed then. I mean, it must have, but why didn't do that route? I don't know. Anyway, so didn't work on me, guys.
As far as I know, caffeine pills weren't a thing when I was in college. Yeah. Some people took like Ritalin, but like, is that the drug? Yeah, the ADD one. Yeah. And that would have like similar effects, but not.
I mean, people would take Ritalin to go out like partying.
I know.
It was like a party drug for you to like stay up at a club and have like that energy. Because drinking would make you tired. So you'd like, drugs.
Drugs. But
yeah,
they do other ones. Yeah. There's the No Hope with Dope one, which is in this case pot, I believe. Right?
Yep.
That always confused me. Is dope actually pot or is dope technically something else? No clue.
Pot, but...
No, yeah. I just watched a documentary on Netflix last night called Grass is Greener about marijuana and like how it kind of like came to be so prevalent in the United States and like where from back then to now it was pretty crazy. But it just was the war on drugs in the 80s and 90s was just like insane on this. Like they would come out and be like, there's all these like fake news stories about people freaking out on marijuana and like killing people, and in this documentary is like Snoop Dogg and he's like, no brother, like there are no brothers who are high. If you're in a party with 20 people you don't know and you're drinking, somebody's gonna kill somebody. 20 brothers don't know people and they're smoking pot, they're having the best time in an hour. And that's not how it works. Yep. And there's like research and it was just so ridiculous. But anyways, it's all tied to race and it's very interesting. I recommend it. It's called Grass is Greener.
And if you remember from the first sort of big drug campaign that came out was that Just Say No to Drugs, which was under the Reagan administration. You had Nancy Reagan going around and doing stuff. So it was also like the sort of race relations between the Reagan administration and trying to crack down.
It got me.
Connecting that, knowing that lower income and you know, different races, people of color were more likely to be doing drugs, and a way to like basically imprison those people, right? And get them off the streets. Right. And then when we were in elementary school, it had changed to DARE, so Drug Abuse Resistance Education, which was really more about learning about drugs. It was still like,
it scared the shit out of me. I was like, I'm not doing drugs, forget it.
Yeah. So it was more about like that level, but we've obviously come like so far because you have now obviously marijuana legalized in most places, and you have even some states like decriminalizing but that's even harder drugs.
And this documentary like touches on that. It's like, now that white people like smoking pot, it's like illegal, and now it's everything's forgiven. Yep. So good documentary. But the No Hope with Dope one, I mean, definitely it got me. I was like, shit, pot is an evil drug. And then now when you watch it, it's very propaganda-y and it's scary. And it's like, it just makes me uncomfortable. And it's too bad. It's too bad. But so anyways, drugs in Bayside High, no good. No good.
Definitely. So this was a good episode to bring up because it brings up that, yes, they did some morality shows trying to teach kids, this is bad. They knew so many kids were watching this and they're like, how do we teach them what to do? Yeah.
They subliminally stuck in messaging about these things.
Yeah. All right. So third one is The Last Dance, which is season 3, episode 1. So you have the week of the big masquerade costume ball. So again, centered around a dance. Kelly and Zack are officially dating, seem to be pretty hot and heavy. They're going as Romeo and Juliet. Very exciting. Kelly, as you learn through the series, is sort of the poorest of the group. So you have Lisa, who's very rich. She never has to work. Zack seems kind of wealthy.
Kind of. He has a cell phone.
He's the wealthiest one. Yeah, he's really wealthy. You do meet his dad at one point. He's like a computer salesman.
That's it? Boring.
Jesse and Slater seem sort of like middle.
Slater's in military family, so they're not struggling.
But Kelly, has all these siblings. 6 brothers and sisters. Yeah, and she's always talking about that and starts to talk about, how she needs money and she needs to help out her family. So she needs to get a job. So Jesse's like, the Max is looking for a waitress. You should go to apply. So she goes to apply and the new manager, I don't know where, what's his name is?
Jeff? Oh, who? Oh, the magician guy.
Yeah, magician guy.
Max.
Yeah, Max of the Max.
Max of the Max.
So I don't know where he is, but the manager is this guy named Jeff.
He was
this
probably
college guy.
busy being on Full House because he's also a magician on Full House who does the emceeing at the Smash Club sometimes.
Okay. So college guy, hot in quotation marks. He looks like a rat to me. He does end up being a rat anyway, but he's like this older guy. Kelly's supposed to be 16 or something. And immediately she kind of gets smitten with him. So she starts working there and starts developing feelings for Jeff. Meanwhile, Zack is trying to put together the costume ball, him and his band, Zack Attack, which will come into play in later episode, right? Mm-hmm. Which is all the other guys are practicing and Kelly's just working her tail off at this job. So she really likes it because she's making money, but she's obviously growing further away from Zack. So one night she stays late with Jeff to help clean up, and they're being all cute and stuff, and then Jeff kisses her. So she is very conflicted because she really liked the kiss, and she keeps talking a lot about him to her friends, and so something's going on. Meanwhile, Zack is probably being the sweetest he's ever been.
I know. Who are you?
He just seems he's a really sweet boyfriend. He's not, it's the one episode he's really not scamming. It's really just about their relationship kind of falling apart. So Kelly, in true Kelly form, is, she's known as the series as the really, really nice one who is never mad at anybody, always sweet, doesn't do anything wrong. Again, very much has a conscience. And she can't deal with the fact that Jeff kissed her and that she liked it, and so she's giving Zack the cold shoulder and acting super weird around all her friends, and it's just it's not going to work out. So they're at the costume ball. And the big thing in this one also is that there's the king and queen of the ball. So Zack really wants to win it, and he thinks they are. And so they perform, and then he goes over to Kelly, and then they start talking, and she's being all weird and trying to figure. He's kind of trying to figure out. He kind of has a sense that something is going on with the Jeff guy, and they get crowned king and queen.
No, I don't think he does.
Yeah, remember because
not until Screech says
Screech
that.
says something.
Oh, yeah.
So they get crowned king and queen, and then when he goes, Kelly, you're the prettiest queen, most beautiful queen in the world, or something, and she's like, thank you, Jeff, and she calls him Jeff. Jesus.
Fucking amateur. Come on, Kelly.
So
get it together.
They have to go talk outside, and they're in their little costumes, and they're sitting on this table outside, and the band keeps performing. So Jesse and Slater perform the Michael Bolton hit, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? It's very emotional, and they're crying. And again, Saved by the Bell doesn't do that a lot of heavy episodes, so this was very heavy. You all are rooting for Kelly and Zack. That's his whole goal is just to be with her basically for the whole show. So they're finally together, and to see that relationship falling apart, it's whoa. to your little like 8-year-old self. So very, very emotional. They break up, but decide to be friends. And it says just at the end of that episode, to be continued. So I believe what happens is they do stay friends. Zach like goes to the max. He talks to Jeff, and they like he's okay with it. He's
it ends up being okay. Yeah. And then come to find out, Jeff is a fucking idiot. Yeah. And has been cheating on Kelly with like girls his actual age in college. And they go, the guys see him at this over 18 club called The Attic. Very hip. And yeah, they bust him. And then Kelly goes to see for herself, and she sees him, and it's sad. She's like, and she says, I broke up with a really great guy for you. And it's like, yeah, this episode was fucking devastating to my little child brain. I was like in the basement crying, like, is this what pain is? And it was just so emotional. And I was like, fuck, I don't know. How can I live without you? Just like the song, it's like, how am I supposed to live without you? I don't know. It was traumatic. It was traumatic.
So good. And like they're all dressed in costumes. So you have like Slater and Jesse are in Mark Antony and Cleopatra, so it like adds like a certain like level of drama to them singing, and they're lip syncing and stuff. But it's great.
So it's interesting because in the Hot Sunday one, the girls at the max when they sing the song, they're actually singing "I Believe." So that is, as far as I'm aware, the only time that has happened. Any other time they need to sing something, it is always lip syncing, except for when Tori Spelling sang it in the Glee Club. That was really her voice. She's a great singer. But it's always dubbed over by these like Michael Bolton-esque singers. And so this one was just so funny because, okay, so the best part is that Zach steps outside to go talk to Kelly. And they would always do this in this show. They just have like somebody on standby to play like any instrument. So Slater's just like raises his hand, and then the like black nerd guy comes over who has the deep frog voice, who I love. Who's my favorite nerd, and he just like assumes the drums and then plays. And another thing that happens in these TV shows is that like it's so fucking easy to start a band, like. All you need to be like is like, I want to be in a band, and boom, all your friends suddenly know how to play. All your friends know how to play every instrument. I don't understand it. How does it happen? I don't know.
You're telling me that rich Lisa Turtle, who only likes to shop and wear fun hats, knows how to play a bass guitar with those long fingernails?
Yeah, right. It doesn't make sense. I mean, Screech, I believe they always put like the nerdy, like Kimmy Gibbler played the keyboard also on Full House. It's like always like the nerd thing. No, I think Kimmy Gibbler really could play the piano, but maybe Screech. I believe it if he could.
Well, I was seeing him play. Well, first of all, he had like duck hands or chicken hands, so it was really hard to play the key.
So he was sure it was real. I'm sure it was real. But like nobody knows how to play the drums or the bass just casually. It's like it's very strange.
I have a feeling that Mario Lopez can do something like that.
I think he can play the
real.
drums.
Yeah, his looked real.
Yes, but I think just in general, it happens in literally every TV show. Yep. Somebody starts a band.
Again, high school.
So I just think that's so funny. But the dub over voice of Slater singing this song and his facial expressions is just like so good. He is just like a ball of cheese, but I'm here for it.
Oh, it just makes my day. I hope Mario Lopez. I mean, is he like a good guy in a real person?
Nothing's bad stories have come out.
Bush, right? Like
no,
he's a good
Hell
guy.
No,
because he seems really nice.
Yeah,
and he seems like a lot of fun.
Don't you let us down, Mario.
Yeah, I really enjoy him in this show. Like, I'm just so glad he's a part of it.
Totes.
But yeah, good episode. All the feels. Definitely a very, very probably the most emotional Saved by the Bell episode.
One of for sure. Yeah. So. Great episode. Trying to think if there's anything else on that one that I want to call out. I was obsessed with Kelly's Juliet dress. I loved that. There was like one where your boob, it's like you only have a very small piece of fabric, like where your boobs are supposed to be, and they're just like it makes your boobs look giant. So great up. Okay, final episode. So this is my favorite episode of all time. I don't know why. I was just like fucking obsessed with this one when I was little. I would swear to God that it would come on every time I wanted it to. I'd be like, oh, I wish the mall episode was on. And then it would like play next and I'd be like, whoa. So it's crazy.
So this one doesn't take place at the high school.
This is one of the few episodes,
which
maybe one
I do
of
enjoy.
very, very few, or if not ever. There's a couple two-parters that take place elsewhere. But this one was unique because there was no school. It was like a weekend, so you're like I feel like we never see them on the weekend. It's always centered around the school. So
and missing Jesse.
And missing Jesse. So there are a couple of episodes where they're missing Jesse. An episode that is just like this same kind of thing actually is the rockumentary one, also missing Jesse, and it's also like separate kind of from school. So in this one, the gang is stoked on getting U2 concert tickets. So this is, the olden days. You buy concert tickets at this like weird mall kiosk, and they set up Screech to sleep at the mall overnight, which like I don't think you can do, but like whatever. And so he's at the front of the line. So guys, this is this was the 4th season, the 5th season. It's one of the last seasons.
3, episode 16. Yeah.
You'd think at this point they've learned not to give Screech important tasks, but they do it every single time. So Screech has all their money. They all go off shopping because they're like, Screech has this covered. No, he fucking doesn't, you dummies. So what does Screech do? The guy's like, okay, mezzanine or orchestra? And Screech is like, fuck. I don't know. I'll be right back. And he like tells this guy behind him to save his spot in line, and then runs off to find Zack and Slater to ask them if they want that. So Zack and Slater are like, what the fuck, dummy? Like, you just left your spot online. He's like, no, I didn't. My buddy's saving it for me. Oh, here he is now. And the guy like doesn't speak English. So you're like, Screech. So, fucking blew it. So then they're waiting. They sit down at the bench, and Kelly's waiting there, and then they all join. Lisa comes. She's like, oh, somebody left a bag here. She opens the bag. There's a wad of cash in it, and she does this funny thing where she like smells it. She's like, smells like real money, and then she like listens to it. She's like, sounds like for $5,000. It's just another like great aspect of Lisa, like just like everything shopping, money, like she knows. I love it. And so they freak out a little bit, and then they're like, what do we do with it? That classic morality question, like you find money, what do you do with it? So this is $5,000. We're not talking about like $20 that some poor person could have left around. Like somebody had $5,000 and now they don't. So Zack, as usual, has a brilliant idea that they're going to buy like a shit ton of U2 tickets with all this money and then sell them at a higher price so they get a profit and they can put the money back, which I still don't. I mean, like, okay, you're just going to leave a bag of money around for somebody else to find, or you're going to like turn it in. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? So they go to this thing. They have to get back in line. So they like woo all these people out of line with like these tricks. All of them cones? Involving like temptations of some kind. And like cliche. Yeah, there's like, oh, there's a fat kid, ice cream,
nerdy girls, guys,
and then and then the old lady. So finally they get to the front, and classic scenario, sold out. They shut that thing. They don't even talk to you. They just shut it, and they put that sign up, sold out, sucker. That's what it should say. SOS. I think that's a line from Doug. But they're devastated as usual. So now they're like, all right, well, this sucks. Turns out they announce another U2 concert just went on sale, and tickets are going to be on sale the next day. So Zack is like, that's great. We can spend the night at the mall again and then be here first and then do our same plan. So that's the plan. Meanwhile, there's like these two sketchy kind of guys following them around who are dressed like 50s greasers, which is Sweetie's like favorite.
Okay, in this show, I will say there's random 50s greasers just thrown in here.
True. There was in the one before too. Yes. There's like these random
it's like
punk
someone
greasers.
Like wandered off the set of Happy Days, like into the show.
They're like, sorry, where am I? This is not like Arnold's or whatever. Yeah, pretty funny, but. So these guys, seem to be after the money. It seems like this is maybe their money. So soon they start catching on to these like weird guys following them. So that's kind of like they're a little paranoid about it. So they're kind of like chased around the mall by these guys in and out. Lisa's had been trying on shoes. Kelly stuffed a bunch of boxes in her bag and then left. That's where the money was. Nuts. So they spend the night in a tent, and then they get up early. They go to the ticket line again. They're first in line. Hi, sir. I would like the max amount of tickets per person. There's 5 of us, so 10 tickets each, $3,000. So what is that? How much were U2 tickets in blank day?
So let's say this is a later season, so 91 maybe.
You're going to do the math? Well, 3,000 divided by...
Oh, I thought you were doing
Wait, 5... No. Like, how much was each U2 ticket then? If the whole cost was $3,000 and it was 10 per person and there were 5 of them. So 50, so 3,000 divided by 50. $60 for a U2 ticket. Chump change, man. Chump change.
Worth $5,175.
What?
$3,000.
Oh, the total. I thought you meant like per person. Okay. So that's makes a little more sense. But anyways, the money's not in Lisa's bag because, like I said, Kelly was just fucking stuffing boxes in the bag. So they don't have the money. So now we're like, fuck again. Like, they're never going to get tickets to this fucking show. And so meanwhile, the guys are still chasing them. They're getting really scared now. They're like hiding from them. They're disguising themselves as wedding mannequins in the wedding store. It comes to a head when like they go to like try to tell this mall cop that these guys are after them, and he's like, "Why would I help? Like, I'm with them." And they're like, "Yeah, you too." They're like freaking out. They're like, "We're dead." And then just when you think all is lost, hey kids, your smile, you're on they call it Candid Camera, which is really unfair to Sweetie and I because we thought Candid Camera was called Candy Camera this whole time, and maybe it's because of this episode.
Yeah.
But
candid isn't a word you like know. That's not a word even used that much anymore.
Candid Camera. Yeah.
It's an old-fashioned word.
True.
And one that in our age we had never heard it. So of course
we
it was candy.
had heard of candy. Yeah. So that's
You're
what
on
it
Candy
became.
Camera.
So it's like they set up a situation and then they're filming it all day. So they got all of them like sleeping in the tent. Meanwhile, they've broken like several laws, and I get the feeling they're all going to be forgiven because they were filming this for a TV show. But that's stupid because like they didn't know that they were filming it for a TV show. They like steal all those wedding gowns in the wedding store. They spend the night at the sporting goods store in the tent. They're talking during movies. They're causing so much trouble in this mall, and it's fine. And cherry on top, as a reward for being on this show that you didn't know about, you get 5 front row tickets to you too.
It all works out.
So it was all good. Thank God, because it was really stressful and annoying that was happening. But anyways, I love this episode. Kelly's wearing this amazing,
love Kelly's outfit.
This fucking amazing floral print shorts with
bicycle
shorts with a bra, like bustier top, but then a denim kind of white denim jacket with patches of the same floral, and the bra is the floral too. So it's just like, whoa, a lot of floral. Totally worked. She's wearing like little red sneakers.
Love that outfit.
I fucking loved it. And she's really great in this episode. When I was little, obviously I was like I liked pretty people. Like Zach was my favorite. Kelly was my favorite. But she, like Sweetie said, she didn't get a lot to do other than being like the nice pretty girl. The hot girl that everybody loved, but she was like super nice and had a heart of gold.
She doesn't have any of the snappy one-liners that they give the other girls.
Yeah, she doesn't get a lot of the comedy, let's say. But in this episode, very different. She has a lot of really great lines that I love. And Lisa's great. There's this amazing scene with Zach and Slater in the movie theater. Sweetie loves it. You can tell it because you love it so much.
So I don't know what movie that is. It sounds like Jane Eyre or something, like on screen, and it's like Lydia and Jonathan. And so the guys, it's a romance, so guys don't like romances, so they're making fun of it. So you have Zach playing the Lydia character and Slater hysterically playing the Jonathan character, like in the accents of these actors on screen. You can't see the movie. So they're just like pissing off the girls, and they like do this part where the Lydia character's like, "Jonathan, will you marry me?" And it's Zach, and Slater goes, "Are you proposing to me, my precious flower?"
Flower.
Like he says it's so funny, and then they have this whole interchange, and then they like hug. I don't know. It's so funny. I just cracked up at that point.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I don't know why I loved it so much. It's like not even that great, but like I don't know. I just love it. Just makes me, and maybe it's like the mall culture, and like I love malls and sitcoms because they're so fake, and like there's like 2 stores. They look like Shop Till You Drop.
Yes. It probably was a Shop Till You Drop.
Probably the Shop Till You Drop set.
Was the homeless for Christmas girl and Christmas one? Yeah. That's at the mall too. That's at the mall too.
Yeah. And there's like they do like a mall pageant, which is like, oh man, that is good times.
I love that episode. That's a 2-parter, that one.
But yeah, those are the ones we picked. Obviously, there's so many more that I could talk about Saved by the Bell probably my whole life.
Yeah. Let's do some honorable mentions. What other ones?
Honorable mentions. So definitely for sure the we have the special. So there's the Malibu Beach like summer episodes where they're working at this beach club for the summer. Famously, Leah Remini is in that as Stacey Carosi. Very good stuff. Then there's some like parts one. So there's a 4-part Hawaiian episode where Kelly's grandfather owns a hotel in Hawaii and they go and stay there for 2 weeks.
And it's like run down and they're going to close it.
So they have to like all get together to like make this happen. Mr. Belding's like running a tour group and they come over and stay. Of course we have to put Mr. Belding into this mess as usual. Like they're obsessed. Like when did you ever see your high school principal? No, it's like every day Zach's like, hey, let's go to my buddy, the principal's office.
Well,
and
he's
like,
way too invested in their lives.
I know.
He's like just way too involved.
It's a little much. So yeah, that and then Palm Springs episode, Jesse's dad gets married and she's like, that's another good emotionally Jesse's emotionally unstable episode. Bad acting. The Vegas wedding one when Kelly and Zach get married, huge fucking deal. And then there were the college years was a whole other kind of series. So those are like the big specials. But then you have like some other choice episodes. Yep. So like for me, like I said, No Hope with Dope, I almost picked that one, but it's like pretty creepy now. The rockumentary one where the Zach band is back. And they've like Zach's like passed out and he dreams this whole like scenario, but they don't tell you that at the beginning. I think it just like starts as this, so you're like, wow, this must be a glance into the future. And you know the band goes awry. Zach, big ego, takes over things. There's like some girl involved, and it turns out it was all a dream, so it's okay. And then some others.
So I already mentioned the homeless girl Christmas one. So he like meets this girl at the mall. Turns out her and her dad are like living in their car. And it's this whole like sort of the season, Christmas season is forgiving. He like falls in love with her, but then is like, she like supposedly like stays with the Morrises like before the dad gets a job until the dad gets a job. She disappears. I mean, she's not in any other, so who knows what happened to her again. This dance off one, which is like super early.
It's like the first one, I think.
Yeah, one of the earliest ones. There's this dance off, and it's again like Kelly, Slater, Zach love triangle, but the end is so good because and then Lisa is supposed to go with this guy, but she breaks her ankle, and the guy like dumps her. So then Screech does the dance off with her, and they do like the sprain where they incorporate her crutches, and it's really cute. Slater and Kelly do this one where in these like red spandex and he does some sort of like crazy pirouetting. It's awesome. There's all these lifts. And then Zach and Jesse do the preppy and they're dressed like nerds and like with penny loafers and stuff. I love that one.
And the song is like the same song every time. So it's like so
good. Damn it, we should have watched it. God, I love it.
I mean, we still can, but it's a good one.
Yep. So then there is one or a couple episodes where Screech finally gets a girlfriend. He's always after Lisa, but they finally kind of deliver him a girlfriend in Tori Spelling, who was kind of garbage in 90210, but she's actually really good as like as this
little
nerd.
Nerd.
Yeah, this little nerd Violet, so cute. So they're dating, I believe, and he goes to meet her parents and he makes all these mistakes. They're very rich. And then the parents are like, you can't see that Samuel anymore. And this is also when they're all in Glee Club. So they're like terrible singers and they find out that like Violet is actually a really good singer. So they do this performance where all the they do the song Beautiful Dreamer, and the whole Glee Club, just the only part they do is bum bum, and then it's just Violet being like Beautiful Dreamer. Yeah. And she almost like doesn't show up because of this whole Screech conflict. Very good. Love that one.
And then the other best part of that one is that like Zach like tapes the like UC Berkeley Glee Club, and then they play that song. They lip sync to that, so that it thinks like they're the real chorus, but the tape's fucked up, so it's like going too fast. So they're like, "Oh, what the say?" They're like chipmunks go marching, and then it goes really slow. Oh, when the saints, and they're all like trying to like keep the
Screech is backstage, and like smoke is coming out of the thing, and the tape. He's like covered in the tape. Oh my god, so funny!
Bit. And they're like, that was our impression of a Glee Club warming up.
So then they do a couple where Zach, so it's always Zach and Kelly, but then they toss 2 episodes in where the other girls fall in love with Zach, which is so annoying. because you're like, that doesn't happen with Slater.
Yeah,
so
what the
hell?
fuck?
So it's really gross, and it was always so off-putting to me. So there's one where they're doing a school play, and they decide to do Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and make like a rap version of it. So Jessie is Snow White and Zack is the prince, and then they end up like kind of falling in love and kissing.
Not really. They just like they're just unsure if there's something there. So then they kiss to see if there is something there, and they're like, "Great, there's nothing there, yay!" But too late. Kelly and Slater saw it, so bad.
Right.
They turn it around though. They get creative with the lyrics and they turn it around.
Okay,
it's
that
great.
is a plot
It's
of that
great.
one. And then they do it with Lisa too,
Yes.
where she's having like a fashion show or something. So
And they kiss, and then Screech gets mad at Zack, and it's like, oh, good. Oh, boy. And then there was one where Screech had a crush on Kelly, and it was unclear whether or not Kelly liked Screech, because it was like this weird thing where he was helping her with,
it's like a project.
school, and then she kind of like starts developing a weird crush on him.
Lots of love triangles.
Also, a couple episodes where Screech has his like robot companion that he's like built. There's like a beauty pageant one at school where Jessie's like, she is in it to like make a stance, and then Slater's like, I'm gonna enter it, I'm gonna win, and then Slater's in it, and that's Zach's ruse to like win, so puts his money behind Screech. So that's a great one. There's just like so many. The date auction, like
buddy bands,
all the dances. Oh my god, buddy bands. They make a business, and then they diverge into. First, it's the bracelets though. But what are those called?
Competing. So then, like,
no, but for buddy bands was the competing one. But what was the original idea? It was like friendship bands or something like buddy bands. No, fuck, I can't remember now. But and
there's
then
so
they
many
divided. But I just love like the dream sequences. A lot of good dream sequences in this, like fantasy daytime, like then you like think of something funny. There's so many of those that are so funny. I could talk about it, forever and ever. Jessie has a stepbrother who shows up for a two-parter. That one's wild.
We didn't even go into the Tori episode. So at one point, Kelly and Jessie leave, and you have a greaser basically come to town in this girl named Tori, who's kind of like this tough girl who then Zack develops a relationship with, right? So that's like 3 or 4 episodes, and she's like suddenly gone. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Those aren't bad though. There's like the guys versus girl like contest one in that, where they like it's like battle of the sexes, and there's like men events and girl events, and Tori wins the putting a motorcycle together event, and Slater's like pissed about it, but then the boys win the pineapple upside down cake off. And it's even.
She was kind of a combo of Kelly and Jessie, which was kind of
interesting.
Funny. Yeah, that's like the way they did that. So then, like as Sweetie said, this Saved by the Bell, this one we're specifically talking about, went from 1989 to 1992. So actually a really short run, only 86 episodes. I think it feels longer because it was in syndication, so it seemed like it was on forever. The Miss Bliss one, which was actually called Good Morning Miss Bliss, which took place in Indiana. And then they moved the show to LA, but that took place from 87 to 89. You had Haley Mills as Miss Bliss. You had Lisa and Zack and Screech. And then you had Mikey and Nikki as the other two. And that's cute. I mean, that's like,
I was going through the episodes.
Those are very sweet.
I was going through the episodes, and the only one that I really remembered is the Stevie one, who like that like kind of teen sensation comes to sing at the school, and whoever wins some contest she gets to sing to her. Like I remembered that, so it's a good one.
I don't remember that much either. I mean, it was really sweet, but they definitely like switched it around into this very cool California setting, and that was definitely a big part of the show, that it was set at this Bayside High and being in California and having all the fashion and the life kind of involved with that. So I think that was a good switch. Then once that show ended, they moved to the college years, as Sweetie said, which was 93 to 94. So you had Zack, Screech, Kelly eventually comes back for that one. Slater. So
they're all living in these like giant king-size palace dorm rooms that are connected to this common room, and then the girls are on one side and the boys are on the other. Like that's not how college works.
Not at all.
Pretty silly, but there's whole thing. Kelly falls in love with the professor, Jeremiah. Mr. It's more than L. Jeremiah Latsky, Professor Latsky. And he's like this, Kelly's in love with him, but then Zach's like, I'm in love with you. And then they decide to get married. So that's how that happens.
And then if you remember, the new class was 93 to 2000. So that actually ran pretty long. And I remember I caught like a couple of those.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, I think just no one was watching it. Again, it was like Saturday
then
morning.
Why would they keep
so we
it
were
on?
in like, we were in high school.
It had
and,
that
like,
many
college.
seasons, or that's how long it played on TV?
It had that many seasons. That's what it said on IMDb. I know, weird. So that one
sounds
just
more
wasn't-
like all the years of Saved by the Bell. Like what?
No, it's
College
this new class.
years. Oh, Saved
So
by the Bell.
that's why. So didn't really watch that one. I saw a couple of the episodes when I like looked through the cast. I was like, oh yeah, that guy. But it just didn't. They just didn't have the same chemistry. They didn't have the same. It just wasn't. It just came and went, that show. And it was like for a certain time, and then it's has now been rebooted. So they did the thing that they're doing with all shows now. Rebooting it, using past cast members as like adult characters, and then making it more diverse. So that's the new thing now. It's on the Peacock network, right? Which is like the streaming service for NBC. Yeah, it looked really cool. I was kind of freaking out when I saw
Frankie says it's pretty good.
The old people come back, like Jesse's the principal or whatever. So but nothing will ever probably compare to the magic of this show. That is for sure.
Nope. Yep. And it's always it's one I put in my rotation of shows I watch. I binge watch as my like eating show that I eat to. And it's just it's a great time every time. But it's not, the whole thing's on Hulu. If you have Peacock, I'm assuming it's on there, and the new one's on there. I was famously in love with Zack Morris for most of my life. He was my first.
I don't really like blondes.
I think he was
he wasn't my major
second
but
fake
for
boyfriend,
you,
but he was like my major one when I was really little. I was like really obsessed with him. Loved him so much. He was just such a babe, and I don't like blonde guys either, but I was obsessed with him.
Yeah, well, he had that charisma.
Yeah, he did.
So a couple of things I want to bring up before we close. So something I love about this is the sitcom set pieces in this. So they really only have like 3 sets in this whole show. So they have like the locker scene of the high school,
hallway,
Mr. Belding's office, and then
The Max,
a classroom, right? So that's like the school.
Oh.
Then the Max is very, very central. They do all of their after school hangs there. And then they have like rotating a girl and a boy bedroom depending on like whose bedroom it is. So then it's just decorated with different posters, like depending on whose bedroom
mostly
it is.
just Zach's as the boys. You see Screeches in a couple in the early episodes with the robot, but other than that, it's
and
always
like randomly there'll be some, like I just watched one that was like Screech's house, so that was like one kind of set piece. But I love that simplicity of sitcoms when really it's just like, okay, here's sets and this is like all where we're gonna do everything. But it's all different stories and stuff, It's just, I think that's so funny about sitcoms, like a Seinfeld kind of thing. The Diner, like Seinfeld's apartment. And this one always gets me is the live studio audience. So they did this, with tons of shows. Do they do it anymore? I don't know. It felt like a very like
some of the
early,
ones we hate, like, right?
Yeah. But those are I think those are like laugh tracks even. Was this a laugh track or studio audience?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so the best thing about the live studio audience in this one is that every time there is a kiss in the show, and mind you, this is a very chaste show. Almost no one does more than a peck, even though these people have been dating all through high school, like I'm sure very lovey-dovey. Zach and Kelly, I've only ever seen them like peck. They never do more than that. It's not like a makeout or anything. And the studio audience is always like, woo! And it just really brings me back. I just love it.
Sounds like they did film it in front of a live
they
studio
did?
audience, yeah.
Man, that must have been fun.
I don't get it though, but like, what if you have to like do 5,000 takes?
Yeah.
Like what?
And they must prompt you when to say stuff, right? Because they don't want people like.
Well, I think there's like signs, that are like, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
The magic of TV.
So I want to go a little over the crazy high school cliches that this covers. So this is almost like we've talked about this with all of our 80s and 90s movies. All these cliches when you're talking about a high school movie. They continue in high school sitcoms and even more so. It's almost satirical, right? So in this one particularly, you have nerds, cheerleaders, and jocks, like especially the nerd. Now this show, like the gang that you follow is like the popular people. That's like what you're assuming, right? Like Zach, Kelly Slater.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure. There's always a gaggle of like really popular jocks that are like we don't know.
And
so
then like
I don't know.
dumb jocks.
Because of them, the only jock really was Slater.
Right.
And Zach briefly played basketball, I think, for like a little while. Kelly played volleyball, was like her main sport. Jesse, not athletic. Lisa, not athletic. They were cheerleaders for a little bit, but not always. Swim team briefly. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
The nerd contingent.
But they only hang out with each other. It's not like kids were like falling over themselves to hang out with these people.
Exactly. But there's a big nerd contingent. They're a big part of the comedy in this. Again, they look like 50s nerds, like a greaser, but like a nerd version. They have nerd glasses, pocket protectors, high pants, like very.
They all talk in like
nerds.
nerd voices.
Yeah.
It's not kind. We weren't kind to nerds.
Dances all the time. We already talked about that. Letterman jackets. I remember those were kind of big. I feel like Slater might wear one later. Is that
probably
right? Yeah. This announcing grades to class. Okay, this came up again.
Well, feds.
There's like a math test, and the teacher goes around and says like Kelly B, Zach C, or whatever. And I'm like, what school did that? Like, talk about invasion of privacy. Like, why would you like need to be broadcasting everyone's grade?
Oh, Wish Upon a Star. That's what it was.
Yeah. I feel like I just watched The Wonder Years. I feel like they did that then.
Yeah,
too.
it was like a thing.
Okay, and this also reminds me of my other favorite line. So I don't remember what this episode was, but it's some bet where Zach, it must be the first season. Zach bets Slater he's going to do like so well on this test. And then if he doesn't, like, he has to pay him or he gets like something. Slater gets something.
Oh, the midterm?
Yeah, something like that. So like they get the results at the end and he's like, and Slater's like, preppy. And he goes down the list. It's like posted on the blackboard. And Slater has like a pointer.
Stick, yeah.
And he goes, boom, and he slams it on the floor. Zack Morris, F-. I just love that, like, F is like the lowest grade you can get. You can't get like an F-, can you? But just that, and the way he says it is so good. Anyway.
So good. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. So many like that. Love it.
Any other high school cliches you can think of?
I don't know. I mean, like... I don't know, like I would say crushes, but like it's really only from Zach's side of these crushes, and because he's a guy he can just like get whatever crush he wants, so you're really missing that, like the other side of that. Now that I'm like rewatching these, I'm like, my entire like teenage years were just about like being in love with some boy who I thought was in love with me secretly and like they weren't. Like that was my whole life. Like maybe like NSYNC, throw them in there, sure. Glitter, eye glitter, but also just being being crushes, and like anybody. It was literally, it could be anybody, famous person. Yep, they're in love with me. You're just like you still have this like self-centric like view of the world, and it's interesting. But yeah, this was. I mean, like most of these shows, these kids seem so old to us, and
but they were high school age, which actually I was impressed by, because you always read about they were 25 and they were playing high schoolers. They actually were high schoolers, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah. And they were all, I mean, they're all great. It was just a great show. Just like fucking good time. Loved it forever. And R.I.P. Dustin Diamond. He had an interesting past, and a lot of them didn't like him, especially on set. They all found him quite annoying, and they were kind of bullied him a little bit, I feel like. And so that's sad. And when he became older, he was like very hostile towards them, and said a lot of hurtful things. So it's sad, but I hope he found some peace in the end. And he's great on a rewatch. Like I found him annoying when I was little, but he still has has his moments.
The show wouldn't have been the same without him. It would have been like a huge hole.
Right.
Quick about 90s fashions. I just have to go into it real quick. So ton of jean on jean, which I love. Again, keep in mind this takes place in California, so that had its certain like own kind of fashion. High-rise jeans. There's a couple I watched with Jessie that were like all she wore was jean on jean, like high-rise jeans, and she's so tall that like it just made her body look like one big bean pole, get it? Big hair. The hair is awesome. Kelly Kapowski's bangs are like a work of art.
She had amazing hair.
Oh
like,
my
I just
God.
wanted to be Kelly Kapowski so bad.
The poofy bangs, just love it. They always had a bold pink lip, which I really appreciate. Huge earrings, scrunchies. Slater loved to rock his muscle shirts, as he should. He had some great arms.
His like parachute pants.
Yep.
What you call those?
But they were a jean
parachute pants.
His own high waist
Stonewash parachute pants.
Yep. But he always wore nice blouses too. A lot of times,
or a tank, or a wrestling tank.
Yeah. Yep. He really.
Today was a casual day. I don't know.
Cosby's, Cosby era sweaters. We call them Cosby sweaters, but those wild kind of chunky sweaters. Lots of floral, lots of denim, obviously. Bike shorts, neons, a lot of neon print.
Lisa wore a lot of blazers.
Yeah, she was very wild stuff.
Yeah.
Like she was always the more adult character, I feel like. So that really worked for her. And lots of multicolored keds, which I love. I love a good ked. I always had white ones, which always got dirty like 2 seconds into wearing, and it was such a waste. I really should have invested in all those different colored ones. I know. But yeah, the fashion was great. Upon this rewatch, I just was like, I want all of Kelly's clothes. They're so cute. Yep, that'll be my dream.
Yeah. My dream is the floral bike shirts.
Yeah.
That'd be a great costume.
That would be a great costume. You would have to get that, like a Kelly wig with like a feathered crazy bang.
You could do it. Just like clip on bang.
Yes.
And then my hair's like long enough.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. You need like someone who can sew, who can like make that for you.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's iconic. It's iconic.
This show is iconic. Let's be real. So good. It's still good. It's still funny. I mean, it's just so great. I'm so thankful that as 90s kids we had this as our main show. I'm so proud. Yeah, it really was. It was the time.
Clarissa Explains It All, like great show for young women, like just like really revolutionary.
Yeah.
And this one not so kind to women maybe, but still a great show and gave us a lot of good.
Well, they did. The huge part of this is like the Jessie being this feminist character and Slater being this like.
She's annoying.
Yeah, she's right. They do make her annoying, which I don't like about, but her their whole dynamic is just he's a sexist, but he really isn't. He's just using it to get a rise out of her. I don't know. That's their way to flirt, which you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. But anyways, this went on very long, but it was deserving.
Our longest episode ever, but we love it. So yeah. Anyways, do you love Saved by the Bell? Come find us on Twitter at Sweetie Club or on Instagram at @LargeMarkSantos. Thank you as always for listening. Bye.
Bye. No rape artist here.